Merhabalar. Bir hafta aradan sonra yeniden karşınızdayız. Bakalım haftanın ifade özgürlüğü gündeminden bizim eleğimizin üstünde kalanlar bu hafta neler olmuş?
Organized for the 30th time this year, the Istanbul Pride Week events were banned by Beyoğlu and Kadıköy district governments. All kinds of outdoor and indoor events were banned by the administration. When the Istanbul LGBTQI+ Pride Parade was planned to be held, the public authority did not take any steps against this hate speech.
Istanbul LGBTQI Pride Week committee made a statement after the ban decree and said, "We do not give up. We are not afraid. We will continue our activities in safe places and online." In their joint statement, LGBTQI+ associations said, "We invite all institutions and the public that support the law, democracy, and human rights to speak up with the same determination and to expand solidarity with LGBTQI+ in every field therein."
Human Rights Defenders Solidarity Network, which our initiatives is also part of, made a joint statement titled, "We stand with LGBTQI+ and LGBTQI+ organizations against discriminatory policies." In the statement, it was said, "The ban decrees made by the authorities encourage hate speech and threats and provoke the aggressors on the grounds that violence against LGBTQI+ will go unpunished. These ban decrees, including discriminatory practices specific to LGBTQI+, are a clear violation of the freedom of peaceful meeting and are against international conventions as well as the Turkish Constitution. State authorities have a duty to protect LGBTQI+, their freedom of peaceful meeting, and their right to personal liberty and security. We stand by LGBTQI+ and LGBTQI+ organizations against all discriminatory policies aimed to isolating, criminalizing, and making LGBTQI+ the target of violence.
The vegan picnic event to be organized by the Istanbul University Equality Group as part of the 30th Pride Week events was banned. The event was cancelled due to the threats of lynching and assault of a group that gathered in front of the school by uttering takbirs and shouting slogans targeting LGBTQI+. No action was taken against the group threatening LGBTQI+, whereas 26 LGBTQI+ activists were detained.
Gaziantep Governor Davut Gül targeted the first Gaziantep Pride Week, which was going to be organized by Gaziantep LGBTQI+ Solidarity and Community Antep Queer between June 23 and 26 and announced that the activities will not be permitted. Antep Pride Week community stated that the attacks and threats increased exponentially after the governor's statement calling it a perverted event, and that the statement created an unsafe ground for LGBTQI+.
The police banned the screening of the movie for the World Refugee Day in the Lifehouse as part of the Pride Month events in Datça on the grounds that there was no prior permission. The police also attacked the press statement that was intended to be made on the street to protest this unlawfulness. The screening of the movie My Child, which was planned to be held on June 21st as part of Datça Pride Week, was also banned by the district governorate upon the application of the district security directorate.
The Eskişehir governor targeted the Pride Parade to be organized by the LGBTQI+ associations and banned all press statements, marches, sit-in protests, handouts, hanging posters, placards, protests, festivals, etc. to be organized through the city for 15 days. The reason for the government ban, which claimed that the said events contain some attitudes and behaviors against public morality and are open to provocations, was to ensure the continuation of a public well-being and public order, protecting general health and morality.
The General Criminal Council of the Court of Cassation overturned the acquittal of sociologists Pınar Selek and Abdülmecit Öztürk in the case of the explosion in the Spice Bazaar in 1998, which killed 7 people and injured 127 people. Selek will be tried again with a claim for aggravated life imprisonment. Selek faced prosecution based on the testimony of someone who said under torture, "We did it together," but later rejected his claim during the prosecution and despite the many scientific reports in the file that the explosion was due to gas leakage. Selek stated, "As this person was acquitted and his acquittal was finalized, the fact that only my acquittal was appealed is not only wrong and irrational, but also inhumane."
A new investigation has been launched due to the statements of the families of those who lost their lives and those injured in the Suruç attack at the hearings. The words, "We want a fair trial," expressed by Sultan Yıldız, Mehmet Özkan, and Yasemin Boyraz during the hearing were made subject to the charge of insult. Previously, investigations were launched against 5 people due to their statements during the 21st hearing.
The appeal application of YouTuber OA, nicknamed Porçay, who was sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison for a parody video about rapper Ezel, was denied. The YouTuber, who surrendered by going to Çağlayan courthouse after the appeal court decree, was sent to Metris closed prison.
The house and office of Ordu-based monthly Yön newspaper owner Osman Şahin was raided by the police after a denouncement was made due to an article published on the website of the newspaper. The journalist who published the petition submitted to the chief physician claiming that a doctor working at Ordu State Hospital prescribed drugs against procedure and requested to work in the pandemic service to get overpaid. Stated that he was pressured to give the name of the person who submitted the petition to him as well as his news source. 3 computers and mobile phones of the journalist who testified at the Security Branch Directorate on the charge of unlawfully seizing and disseminating personal data were confiscated.
The lawsuit filed against journalists including the Turkish Journalist Association Hakkari representative Erkan Çapraz, which was tried at the Yüksekova Second Assize Court on the charge of insulting a public official because of his duty, due to a report published by Yüksekova Haber Daily in 2010, has been abated due to the statute of limitations.
The People's Democratic Party Assembly member Selahattin Yılmaz, who participated in the ordinary Congress of the People's Democratic Party Kocaeli Provincial Organization held on June 19, was arrested due to making propaganda for a terrorist organization during his speech at the Congress, as well as speech at Nevros event held in Gebze on March 19, 2022.
Relatives of the prisoners who wanted to hold the Justice Watch in front of the Istanbul Çağlayan courthouse to draw attention to the usurpation of rights in prisons were detained with torture this week as well. The police blocked the way of People's Democratic Party parliament member Musa Piroğlu, who said, "I will make the statement they were not allowed to do," and intervened against him, claiming that he had acted against the law. Piroğlu was pushed from his wheelchair.
Cerrahpaşa Medical Faculty Dean's Office launched a disciplinary investigation against Istanbul Medical Chamber Assistant and Young Specialist Physical Branch Representative Tahsin Çınar, who left his job and called for a Turkish Medical Association to draw attention to the violence against healthcare workers. The Dean's Office claimed that Çınar's social media posts for the act of quitting were aimed to create chaos and outrage.
Rize Criminal Judicature of Peace blocked access against a news article reported by Contemporary Journalists Association Rize Branch President and journalist Gençak Karafazlı regarding Justice and Development Party President of the Rize Provincial General Assembly Ibrahim Turut with the headline, "Turut pretends state investments are his own success. Is he dreaming of parliament membership?"
Alpay Özalan is the former teammate of Beşiktaş, one of famous soccer players Feyyaz Uçar, and now is a Justice and Development Party parliament member. The interview Uçar gave years ago in a soccer program was on the agenda of Ekşi Sözlük website with the thread titled Feyyaz Uçar's Memory of Alpay Özalan, and the posts under the thread were blocked from access by the Istanbul Anatolian 8th Criminal Judicature of Peace. Commenting on the musts in the interview in question, Uçar has answered the question, "Who is the player that lies the most?" as Alpay Özalan.
At the graduation ceremony of Istanbul University Çapa Faculty of Medicine, the Hippocratic Oath was changed by the school administration, and the section, "No sexual orientation discrimination to be made," was removed from the oath.
A verdict of non-prosecution was issued in the lawsuit filed on the death of 13-year-old Fatma El-Aslan, who disappeared during the curfew declared on February 16, 2016 in Idil district of Şırnak, and whose lifeless body was found on March 7, 2016. The Şırnak Public Prosecutor's Office claimed that the 13-year-old boy participated in clashes with the security forces, engaged in armed activities against the security forces, and was killed during the clashes. The prosecutor's office further claimed that the police followed a lawful order and denied the objections to the decision on the same grounds.
Haftanın adliye mesaisi yine bir hayli yoğundu. İşte takip ettiğimiz davalardan seçtiklerimiz.
The lawsuit filed against former People's Democratic Party parliament member Süreyya Önder was held on the charge of insulting the president due to the expressions he used as he was testifying at the Diyarbakır Chief Public Prosecutor's Office as part of an investigation in 2016. The court decided that Önder has committed the crime he was charged with and sentenced him to 10 months in prison, deferring the announcement of the verdict.
The Workers' Party of Turkey member Kaan Ünal and university student Doğukan Akkaya, who were tried at the Istanbul 55th Criminal Court of First Instance on the charge of attending unlawful meetings and demonstrations and not dispersing spontaneously despite a warning for their participation in the Boğaziçi University protests, were each sentenced to 5 months in prison.
Deniz Poyraz was murdered in the attack against the People's Democratic Party Izmir Provincial Building. Her father, Abdullah Poyraz, was acquitted in the lawsuit filed against him on the charge of making propaganda for a terrorist organization due to the interview he gave to the Mesopotamia Agency after his daughter was killed.
The lawsuit filed against the Chamber of Architects Ankara branch chair Tezcan Karakuş Candan and 6 executive board members of the time started at the Ankara 25th Assize Court on the charge of making propaganda for a terrorist organization for giving an award to Jin TV. The next hearing was scheduled for September 15th.
The latest hearing of the lawsuit filed against the Ankara Bar Association administration, which criticized Director of Religious Affairs Ali Erbaş after he targeted LGBTQI+ and used hate speech in his Friday sermon, was held at the Ankara 16th Assize Court. Announcing his opinion 2 days before the hearing, the prosecutor requested that 11 lawyers be punished for insult. The hearing was adjourned to November 9.
The latest hearing of the lawsuit filed against Biyanet editor Evrim Kepenek on the charge of insulting due to the news reported on Refik Y, who was initially arrested over abusing his 6-year-old child and was released on the condition of judicial measures, was held at Izmir Selçuk Criminal Court of First Instance. The next hearing was scheduled for November 1st.
The latest hearing of the lawsuit filed against Jin News reporter Beritan Canazer was held at Diyarbakır 4th Assize Court on charges of making propaganda for a terrorist organization due to her social media posts and has been adjourned to October 13.
The latest hearing of the lawsuit filed against 4 students who were detained at Boğaziçi University for carrying a rainbow flag, as well as 8 students who were detained while protesting the situation, was held at the Istanbul 24th Criminal Court of First Instance. The next hearing was scheduled for September 20th.
The latest hearing of the lawsuit filed against 14 students and 3 right defenders from COGITO Student Solidarity who wanted to make a statement of support for the Boğaziçi University protests was held at the Kocaeli 5th Criminal Court of First Instance on charge of violating the law number 1911 and resisting to prevent duty. The next hearing was scheduled for October 17.
The latest hearing of the lawsuit filed against the Rosa Women's Association President Adalet Kaya was held at the Diyarbakır 11th Assize Court due to her religious delegation of Democratic Society Congress, participation in a statement of the association she's the head of, as well as her social media posts. The next hearing was scheduled for November 9th.
In the latest hearing of the lawsuit of compensation filed by President Erdogan's son-in-law against journalist Hazal Ocak due to her news article titled "The Son-in-Law Knows What to Do," Istanbul 8th Civil Court of First Instance held a hearing to which Albayrak's lawyers attended online through a hearing without informing the journalist's lawyer. After the lawyer of the journalist reacted against this, the judge says, "We held a hearing, it's over." And the hearing summary was not handed to the lawyer.
Bu haftalık da bizden bu kadar. Her zaman olduğu gibi haftanın diğer tüm ifade özgürlüğü gelişmeleri internet sitemizde ve bültenlerimizde. Yeniden görüşünceye değin. Hoşça kalın.